is the European Super League. That was a plan that has now since fallen through in the last few days. Uh, it initially was composed of 12 teams, six of them being from the European League, three of them being from the Spanish League, and three of them being from the Italian League. Those teams, which are listed right here: AC Milan from Italy, Atletico Madrid from Spain, Arsenal from England, Barcelona from Spain, Chelsea, Inter Milan from Italy, Juventus, which is where Ronaldo's at, Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, Real Madrid, and Tottenham. Those are the teams that were initially tied to this whole stupid plan. I say stupid because it's ridiculous. It was like, and again, we're Americans, so we don't understand the kind of way that football has impacted over there, uh, everyday life, as well as how the cities over there and everybody get so behind them. What I do compare them though is kind of how college football is here, and that's the comparison I'll give to any American that really kind of doesn't understand why this is such an issue. Is if you're, for example, you look at states like Mississippi, for instance. Mississippi, they bleed college football. I mean, down there, that's their religion. Same with some of the cities in Texas and some of the areas in Texas, some of the areas in those Louisiana. They bleed college football, and the reason why is because that's what they have there. That's the major sport. Here in Chicago, where we are, we're spoiled because we have the Bears, we have the Blackhawks, we have the Bulls, we have the Cubs, we have the Sox. We even have the Chicago Fire. If you choose to watch soccer here, which I do follow a little bit. Uh, we have all these teams. We have all these major sports that we're able to kind of split our enjoyment for. One season ends, you go to the next sport. Another season ends, you go to the next sport. Football is over right now and it's in the off season. I'm enjoying baseball and as well as a little bit of hockey and basketball. And then once those are over, we switch back into football and we can jump right into that. What I think Americans miss in the comparison or understanding of why this is such a big issue is that for them over in Europe, Italy, England, and Spain in particular, where these clubs were potentially going to leave those leagues, it's literally it's something that everybody gets excited for, and it's a part of your history. I mean, a lot of those clubs have been there for hundreds of years, and they've been rooted in that community there, and it's such a thing that it's a pride that you feel. It's almost like you have this pride in you that we're Bears fans or we're Cubs fans or whatever you may be. It's all of the teams that we're prideful in combined into one pride for one group or team. And then when you're playing in those leagues too, the way that they're set up there is it's kind of baseball-esque here, where we have the major leagues, the AAA, AA, and single A. There they have you have League One, League Two, and then you have the Premier League in England. League One being the lowest. If I'm speaking of this correctly, League One being the lowest. If you're good enough to play in League One, you might move to League Two. If you're good enough to move from League Two to Premier League, that's the goal. That's what you're hoping to do, and then you're hoping eventually to play for your home country in the FIFA World Cup as well as any of the different tournaments there. So for them, it's so important to the community, and it's so important to the people that have lived there and have been such a fan of these clubs for so long that it's an insult, honestly, to them as fans, to them as a people, to them as a community, for these clubs to choose what seems like the rich getting richer type of plan, where essentially these clubs would just play with each other and apparently make copious amounts of money together, while just excluding all of the other clubs that were a part of the leagues that they were a part of, as well as the communities themselves where those clubs lie. So not only do you have that aspect of it, which is absolutely absurd and ridiculous and awful and unfair, but you also have to understand too that a lot of these clubs are owned by million and billionaires that do not reside within those cities. They're not from those communities. And so they look at it kind of how we would look at it here in America, where a lot of these are franchises. They're organizations. It's a business. Over there, it's not so much that way. It's a lot more of again, they're a part of the community. They're a part of the way of life there. It's such an issue that this is even a thing that could be proposed. And the fact that this has happened, yeah, it's fallen out, and we're seeing it right now on screen. It's those are the teams that are out. The fact that those teams were even interested in doing this is an insult to those communities, and is an insult to the very sport of football, and should really be something that's shamed upon, and should never happen again, because it's ridiculous. And I'm sorry, I guess the most I can be to any of those communities that had to go through this, where potentially these teams were going to just, I guess, leave the league and just decide that they were good enough to join a super league, quote unquote. And it's sad too, because some of these teams, I'm pretty sure Tottenham's only won like one title, or one Premier League title. So like it's just ridiculous that these teams not only had the balls to leave their leagues and respected communities, set upon organization and everything, but they also had the balls to like call themselves the best 12 teams right now, and that's why the Super League. The whole thing's ridiculous. The whole thing's absurd. It's unbelievable, and I'm really deeply saddened for the fan bases there, because I can't imagine if, for instance, the Bears just decided to join 11 other teams that were like, we're the best teams, or we're the most storied franchise, or whatever it may be, and then just leave the NFL. Like, it's unthinkable here with the way, and we're not even as into it or potentially as involved for, the hundreds of years that these clubs have been there. So it's just stupid. It's absurd. It's awful, and I'm glad that it's fallen through. And I hope that some of these teams and owners receive the repercussions. Obviously, I hope the players don't, because the players did not deserve to be a part of this whole pariah that's around this whole issue. And I really hope that they feel what is wrong about this whole thing, and really kind of continue to back the communities that have supported them and been such a fan of them, moving forward.
Yeah, you hit on all points. There's
I was
nothing more.
just,
It's
yeah,
pretty. It's pretty transparent on what was going on. So there's not really a lot of insight into it. They're just called out.
well, and as Americans, like I said, it's we don't quite understand the way that this impacted, the various communities that it has. But just speaking from a standpoint of somebody who's been slowly starting to get more and more interested in football over there, as well as getting more involved in, even just the game, playing the FIFA game and stuff like that, helps you to get more involved and actually interested in the sport. And I've been on that kind of path, and even to me, to see this as a new fan coming from America that doesn't understand what this impacts the community and how it impacts the community, it's completely absurd, and it's ridiculous that it was even proposed of, and it's ridiculous that these pompous owners even thought that this was a thing that would be accepted or even liked or thought of. And honestly, I hope that this just is a detriment for any type of thought of any of this happening ever again, because it should never.